Hi, and welcome to Paper Route Scrapbooking. I'm Nadine, and today I'm turning some scraps into embellishments. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am working with Ginger and some of her friends in a YouTube series that is going to be all year long, and it is called Scraps to Embellishments. And it is a hop with Ginger from Ginger's Corner and her friends, and we are taking scraps to create beautiful things with them. Some people will be participating in the swaps over on Ginger's Corner. If that's interesting to you, please go check it out. But some people are just using this as an opportunity to create things with their paper scraps. So I know at first glance this probably, you're like, Nadine, those are not scraps. That's a full 12 by 12. And it is. But I wanted to talk about something a little bit different today in terms of what kinds of things I toss into my scrap bin. So like this one obviously isn't a full 12 by 12, but it's not totally black either, which was my original idea. But I didn't have one, a scrap that was going to go through my Cricut one time, and I'm kind of in a bit of a hurry today. So I decided to go with this darker, it's kind of like a brownish gray, I guess. And I think it's going to go just fine with what I'm making. And then this one is in my scrap bin because it's sun damaged. Do you see on the corners? It's a little bit bent too. And then over there. And I got it like this. I often will pick up things like this at a garage sale. They're usually in a free bin. Or at a, that sort of thing. So, and this one is the same thing. It's sun damaged. Do you see that? But for what I'm going to be, the reason I do grab those things is because I don't want them tossed in the trash, because I think they're useful. So also if my paper for whatever reason gets sun damaged, I do have a paper rack that sits right next to a big picture window. But when I have the window open, it's wrapped in a blackout curtain. So I haven't had any issues with sun damage of my own paper, but I do pick it up sometimes if it's free. And so then it just goes into my scrap bin. But if I feel like it's still usable. Does that make sense? So I feel like it's still usable, but I don't want to obviously use it as a full 12 by 12 because it's kind of icky on the edges, right? But I think it's still usable in terms of paper. And paper piecing and creating things. So these are the two pinks that I chose. Today, the swap we're working with is called Pretty in Pink, and I'm loving this idea. I actually pulled out all of my pink scraps and went through and was like, wow, I have a lot here. So that was good to know too. And then when I saw these full-size sheets, I'm like, this is going to be awesome because I'm going to be in a hurry during because I knew I was going to record today, and I knew that it was going to have to be a quick one. So I was like, that's perfect because I can just run because when I use my scraps, I'll usually make one thing at a time so that I can use a lot of smaller pieces, but this is going to work for me today. So, but I thought I would share that with you because when you see stuff like that, don't just toss it in the bin. It's still usable if you're willing to hang on to it and you have the space for it. Okay, so I'm going to pause the camera here, and I am going to cut the pieces out on my Cricut for all 8 pieces because I am participating in the swap. And our swap is, like I said, it's called Pretty in Pink, and it's really like use your imagination. Anything you can think of that could be pink is eligible for the swap. It does have to be a minimum of 2 layers. This one's going to be 3. All right, so hang on. I will be right back. Okay, so we are back. I ran those sun-damaged papers right through my Cricut, and I made a couple of images come to life. So this is the image that I chose, and all I did was I went into my Cricut design space and I typed in the word pink and everything. It was a lot of hearts and Valentines, and I didn't really want to do that, even though it is the month of February. I feel like that's a very common image that everybody could use, and it would definitely be fine, but I wanted to do something a little bit different. A lot of the things I was drawn to were very cutesy and childlike, so I tried to steer away from that a little bit because I do that a lot. I wanted to do something different. I wanted to keep in mind my friends who maybe don't scrapbook about the cutesy stuff. So anyway, this pink pheasant was on there, and I'm like, I know pheasants aren't really pink, but I thought it was pretty, and I thought it could go on a lot of different things, just like as an embellishment. It doesn't have to mean anything, right? Like you see a lot of designers use birds just as embellishment pieces. So I thought, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. And I'm kind of liking how it turned out. So that's kind of cool. So I also think it could be used for any kind of like zoo or, you know, those kinds of things if you're very more like really stuck on those themes. Home decor is, you know, pink birds is a trend sometimes in home decor. So you could always look at that as well. So what I did before I came on camera also was once I got these off the mats, the Cricut mats, I took some black distress ink and inked around the edges of the gray paper. Then I took some, what is this one? Picked raspberry and went around the edges of this pink. And then I took some abandoned coral and went around the kind of darker coral color. And then I was going to leave one to do with you guys, and I was listening to my audiobook and I forgot. So they're all inked, sorry. That's just the way that turned out, but I am enjoying my audiobook, and it was voiced by my very own brother. So I thought that was really cool, and he gave it to my dad for Christmas to listen to, and I was like, what's the name of the book? And so he told me, and I looked it up, and I had a credit at Audible, so I just bought it. I'm like, I'm going to listen to it too. It's not something our family does, like read books and talk about it, but I'm looking forward to talking to my family about it because my parents are going to read it, and obviously my brother read it since he's the one who's voicing it, and yeah, I think it'll be fun. So that's why I was distracted and did not stop inking the pieces. So here we are. So this is it's the black base. One of the rules of our swaps is that it has to be, you don't have to be like a super scrapper or whatever to participate, but you have to be able to provide, like, it can't just be like a journaling card or a die cut piece that you got from like an ephemera pack or whatever. It has to be something handmade. And so one of the rules that they've kind of implemented to steer away from that giving of just like your leftover product basically is that they said it has to have at least 2 layers to it. So a lot of dies that you run through like your Sizzix machine or whatever are layered and have, you know, would fit that kind of criteria sort of thing. So, and then of course, if you have like a cutting machine, like a Cricut or a Silhouette or whatever, that's really easy to come by as well. So this particular one has the 3 layers to it, and I really am liking it. I'm really liking the colors. So we've changed things up. We're doing things instead of one every week, it's one twice a month. So on the 1st and the 15th, they're posted, and then they mail out a week later, I think. And then the first one of every month, to kind of make it more so that people can just like, people aren't so boxed in by what the theme is or whatever. The first one of the month is always a color, which I'm kind of loving just because that's how I sort my scraps. So it's really easy to go and find what I'm looking for. You know what I'm saying? So these ones I tried putting the eye on with putting the glue on the enamel dots. So the reason I picked these dots is because I don't know where they're from. I can't remember if I got them in a kit or whatever, but they're not really sticky. So once you take them off the backing, they don't stick. So I'm gonna, that's why I picked them for this, because I'm like, I can use up at least 8 of them, of these tiny, and they're also really tiny, these little ones, as eyeballs. Because when I do animals, I often will, like I said, I like to do cutesy stuff. So I usually will use like googly eyes, or I have like printable eyes from like back when paper piecing teddy bears was really cool. And I have a printable for that. So I usually use those, but they were all too big for this particular icon, and so I went looking for something else, and this is what I decided, is these really tiny black enamel dots, and I think they actually look really much better than just like the cutout eye from the machine. So on the back, I am going to write which swap it is. I'm just using a white Jelly Roll pen to write on the darker paper. And I'm just going to put Pretty in Pink. That's what this particular swap is called. And then I'm going to put my name. And during the swap, you don't have to put all this information, but this is what I like to see when I flip a piece over and I want to know who gave it to me. I want to know which swap it was from and how long ago it was made. So I like to put the year and the name of the swap. So that's just a personal preference. The only thing that they ask you to do is to put your name so that when you use it, like especially if you're using it on a video or whatever, you can say, give credit to the person who made it for you. So these are going to be my homemade items to send out for Pretty in Pink. Sign up is going to be February 1st, and then after that you have 7 days. I think it's the 7th that you have to have them in the mail for, and then you can get 8 of the different items that everybody else made back in the mail. So we also have swaps here in Canada. The United States, of course, is where the bigger group is. And then also we have some swappers out in parts of the UK and Australia and New Zealand. So that's pretty cool. All right. So thank you so much. If you're interested in these videos of using up scraps and what other people define as scrap paper, etc., and how they make it work for them, there is a playlist linked below. It is a collaborative playlist that all of us who are participating in the hop can link to, so we put our videos in there. If you would rather just pick and choose who you want to watch, there's a list of participants down below as well. And we do have some participants that are just on Instagram, so if you prefer just to see the image, that's there as well. Okay, so I think that's it for today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below and I'll get back to you just as soon as I can. Bye for now.